Hey people, Coach Simmons here. I'm sorry about the video yesterday. Apparently, something went wrong, so I want to re-upload the documentation I found on the actual contracts, pay contracts for the Southern University athletic department. Once again, this is Southern University system, Southern University Baton Rouge campus, fiscal year 2022 to 2023. So this is signed by Mr. Roman Banks, Director of Athletics, and the Vice Chancellor of Finance Administration, Mr. Ben Pugh. Apparently, he signed a CJ as well. All right, so it shows the ticket sales, $1.6 million. What they made ticket sales in football last year. Only 75,000 in basketball. A lot of those tickets are being comped for students. I get that. Guarantees football 700,000. These are the revenues. Okay, men's basketball 375, women's basketball 155. They actually made more money for parking than they did for men's basketball or women's basketball last year. Now that's saying something. Um, Now, one of the big things I do remember people talking about was the Bayou Classic. The Bayou Classic actually netted them a total of $460,000 in ticket sales only. So that's not bad. A lot of times you get these um, called blood money games. The blood money games always end up having 350,000 K. If they can do a quote unquote classic, comes out like this, why not, right? Student fees, 3.1 million, which is once again is high, but if the students are willing to pay for it, take it. The one thing I do not understand, well, two things, and this is one thing I believe a lot of people are gonna bring umbrance to. The SWAC only gave them $100,000 last year, 100K from the SWAC total for everything. Um, the NCAA body gave them 500,000, but the other problem I have is this right here: licensing. So with licensing, it means like selling your uniform, selling your jersey, selling your name, um, renting out your stadium, putting your name of a bank on the stadium, like Simmons Bank Field over in Pine Bluff. You can actually, if you own the stadium, it does not have to be called Mumford. You can call it Baton Rouge Federal Credit Union. Sell licensing. That will bring in more money to the school. Um, it's funny because no licensing last year gave them $100,000. Just concessions gave them 90. Just eating food gave them almost as much money as their licensing deal. Now let that make sense. Now, when it comes down to it, these are the expenditures, things that they use to have to pay out, basically. So then you have salaries, 3.85 million. Okay, benefits, tuition discounts, 15,000. Travel, their travel expense was 1.2 million. That's a lot of tickets on Southwest Airlines, especially when you consider everything around the SWAC was originally supposed to be bus route. That was the whole reason why they joined together in the conference's infancy. Now, going a little further than this, scholarships 3.58. Okay. Transfer out debt services, so basically paying stuff they owe so they stay above ground, 261,000. Not bad. The total expenditures were like 11.735 million, right? But how did they? What they make? 11. They basically made exactly what they brought in. A lot of problem with HBCUs I see. This is just my opinion. Is that we don't save. We use everything down to the last penny. And looking at the coaches, well, sorry, not coaches, but the salaries of the personnel in the athletic department, you're gonna see, of course, the man in charge, Roman Banks, $296,000. 296. The closest person to him is the associate athletic director. That would be Rodney. Yeah, I'm calling him Rodney. I don't know how to say that first name. I'm not gonna try to. If you can see, that could be a problem, right? Hold on a second. Yeah, that could be a problem. Looking at everything else, it's around 50,000 or less. Um, unless you're like a ticket director or director of development. But everything else outside of the athletics director, SID department, you're under 75,000 a year. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We had a discussion before. People were talking about how high school coaches made more money than SWAC coaches. Before I get to that, something just popped up. So remember, this is only the budget for the personnel department, right? So tuition discount 15,000, blah blah blah. Sick pay 15,000, blah blah blah. Travel $30,000 last year in travel. I love when they say operational services. Operational services basically means we're not going to tell you what it is. It's like going to a church and having the building fund. They're not saying what it's building on. They're just saying this is all grouped together. And $708,000 is operational quote unquote services. Professional services, $230,000. Other charges, other. I don't know about you. You try to go ahead and say other to your taxes and see what the government does to you. But other charges, $290,000. Now, they were talking about once again how high school coaches make more money than SWAT coaches. But they were saying head coaches. And this is where the beef I have comes with. Because as you can see, Eric Dooley made $310,000 last year. Now I know you're probably saying, well, hold up. He's a head football coach. He made 310 and the athletic director made 296. We'll discuss that later. But looking at it again, you can see there's no football coach in this country, especially not in Texas, making $300,000 a year. Now you got coordinators. Yes, you can go that route. You have 56,000, 80,000, 65,000, 45,000, 53,000, 45, 75, 55, 50, 55, 50. I do remember there was a guy who had a comment about Coach Dooley getting his homeboys jobs. Well, look, I'm gonna be honest with you people. I drive Uber for a living. I make more money than everybody down here. Every person down here doing Uber and my other job too. But just Uber by itself, I make more money than this. So you got to get somebody to convince them to come down and work for less than $80,000 a year as a coach with all the stuff the coaches get into. You may want to call people you know. So it's not just the homeboy system. It's the fact that you got to go ahead and get people who are willing to go ahead and work for this amount of money for the amount of stuff they put into. Especially when you see there is nothing in here. Go to travel. So your travel is $320,000 a year. Coach Odom's had a very specific way of looking at it. Everything within a tank of gas. Now that we are in this new era of recruiting, you have to go damn near national to recruit. So you have to go ahead and get the player from California, player from Florida, player from Washington, player from Maine, whatever. You're gonna have travel expenses. Now that's just what it is. If you want to go to baseball coach, okay, baseball coach makes $110,000. I want y'all to look at something real quick, people. I'm not trying to degrade anybody at Southern University, but I do want you to understand how math works. The assistant baseball coach makes $38,000 a year. Okay, that may sound like that's a lot of money. That's something grand, right? I want you to look at how math works. Go out there and get the calculator out real quick. I want you to go ahead and add this up. The average salary for a stay-at-home job, remote job at State Farm makes $24 an hour. You take that $24 an hour, multiply that times 40 hours a week. Multiply that times 52 hours a year, or 50 weeks a year. That's $49,920. The average person staying at home working makes more money than assistant baseball coaches. So, on one hand, excuse me, I'll give Coach Prime credit for that. On one hand, the assistant coaches don't make anything, and that's being honest. Your assistant coaches are the ones who are really putting out that grind of trying to make sure that they get everything which is needed to get the program going further. Now, you want to go further down in this? We can do that. The head track and field coach, 57,000. Tennis coach, 68,000. Golf coach, reason why is TBA, 15,000. Basketball coach, women's, $119,000. Basketball coach, men's, $130,000. Volleyball coach, 57. So this is what I'm trying to let you understand, people. $12,000 for the assistant track and field coach. You have to do this for the love. This is a part-time gig for you. Or you're still in school. Softball coach, 54,000. Bowling coach, 26,000. 54,000 head soccer coach. So sports medicine trainer, TBA. Strength and conditioning coach, $60,000. Assistant coaches, 59. The assistant coaches for strength and conditioning make about $321 less than the head coach. I want you to put that into perspective, people. Look at that very carefully. Put that into perspective, and you will see what's going on. Outside cheerleader coach, $12,000. Outside of your football program, you're not going to see any kind of salaries. And honestly, outside of your head coach and your AD, there is nobody on this roster who makes more than $130,000 a year. That's the difference between Power Fives. Since everybody wants to go to Power Fives, hell, Group of Fives. Group of Fives, yes, you look at ULM, and Eric Dooley makes probably $15,000 to $20,000 less than Coach Terry Bowden. But the problem isn't the head coach position. It's everything under it. There is no, I mean, when you think about a cashier at a taco stand making as much money as the assistant football coach at Southern University, this is what the fall off's at. When you go to Group of Five schools, you go to higher FCS schools, their assistants make more money. That's why they are so much higher. Now, we can get into Southern University a little bit more. In fact,